There we go. Now the mic's on. Good afternoon, everyone. Can everybody hear me? And somebody, you should be able to see me. You should be able to hear me. There we go. Why don't I mute my own mic? Well, at least I know you can hear me since it came through my speakers. How's everyone doing today? Oh, what a day. Oh, this was a Momo's Trader's paradise today, my friends. Just absolutely, my fourth best day of the year, I think. Might be fifth. I got to go back and look. I got to check. I haven't done my journal yet because I was prepping for this. All right. Everybody is here. The gang is all here. That's great. All right. Let me get that off the screen. Okay. Oh, I screwed up the... here, let me fix this real quick. There we go. Okay. So... We're 30 seconds after the close, guys. We're going to give everyone about 60 seconds to get here and get settled for anybody who is managing trades at the close. It's going to be a little different format today, guys. As I said in the Discord, we're not going to be doing Death by PowerPoint today. As much as I hate attending PowerPoint presentations, they are really important in terms of having the information on the screen, having, again, especially for note takers, and I'm a big believer in taking notes during a presentation. But we're going to go a little more informal today. Of the 4 weeks of this summer psychology series, this is the one that's going to be a little bit more unscripted, a little bit off the, probably goes off the res at some point, but that's all right. So we'll give everyone about 30 more seconds, and then we will get going. How'd everyone do today? I don't need to know numbers, but just tell me red or green today, and be honest. See a lot of names I recognize and a lot of new names. That's great. Great reach. Really looking forward to. Okay, green. That's good. That's good. Yeah, guys, this was I mean, don't get me wrong. If you're a newer trader, you're a struggling trader, you were red today. That's okay. Okay, that happens, right? But this is the type of day that once you begin to have some consistent success. If you're an experienced trader and you didn't make money today, you weren't at your computer, right? That's about it. If you're a scalper today, you should have made money. If you're a momentum trader like I am, sort of an intraday swing trader as I like to refer to it, and you should have made money today, right? There was, I don't care if you use candlesticks, I don't care if you use Renko charts, momentum indicators. I've heard from some of my volume profile guys, although that's an area I'm pretty deficient in. Josh is going to help me with that. But that's, guys, just good, clean setups. A lot of movement between the plus and -1 standard deviation bands off of VWAP. You're a VWAP trader. You did well today. I don't know what else to say. So, but again, if you're a newer trader, maybe you struggled today. That's okay, right? Like I go back and look at some of my early trade journals, and I'm like, dude, how'd you screw this trade up, right? That's part of being a newer trader is just finding ways to screw things up, right? So, all right. So, guys, this is going to be a little more interactive today, right? And so we don't have to type novels or anything like that. I know YouTube chat function is not the best for things like this. Lots of first trade stop loss, overturn losses made. Okay, great, yeah. There was a couple of times today and I can pull up a chart in a little bit, guys, and just kind of show you some things during the Q&A. So I've got probably about 20 to 25 minutes, just a couple of stories to tell you from early on in my trading career up to very recently. Actually, we're going to start with recently, and we're going to tie it back, right? And then we're gonna open it up for a lot of questions. Now, guys, when I pitch this, I listen, I'm preaching to the choir. You guys are here. You're YouTube subscribers to Blue Sky. Most of you, I would imagine, are Blue Sky clients. And, listen, there's a lot of different funded trader companies out there. When my clients first started asking me about these, right? I've been trading my own account, stocks, options, futures for almost 10 years. This early October will be officially my 10-year anniversary as a trader. I'm very, very excited. But I had clients ask me about these funded trader companies, so I looked into them. I exchanged emails with probably 7 or 8 different companies. But guys, this is the only one that I've seen. Now, other ones may employ traders for educational purposes, but this company is run by traders. That immediately attracted me to the philosophy in what they're doing, right? And so one of the other things that shows you that they're serious about education is they're letting me do 4 weeks on trader psychology, right? Let's be perfectly honest, right? Trading psychology is not the thing that gets traders excited, especially newer traders, okay? It didn't get me excited when I was first a new trader, right? Trading psychology, my favorite story to tell, I read the best trading psychology book, in my opinion, is The Disciplined Trader by Mark Douglas, okay? There's Mark Douglas was a trader who learned about psychology and then applied it. Dr. Brett Steenbarger is a psychologist who learned about trading and then applied it. So anything by those two I can't recommend enough. Dr. Steenbarger is great. He does tend to get a little long-winded at times. His books are several hundred pages long. I think Mark Douglas is a little more succinct with it, but both are definitely worth your time. So trading psychology, in fact, there's a saying that I just tweeted out a few minutes ago. About 3/4 of teaching trading psychology is convincing traders they need to hear about trading psychology, right? And here's the best example for this that I can tell you. So within my first 3 months of actively live trading, so we're going back to late 2013, early 2014, I learned a swing trading setup specifically for stocks called the snapback trade. Okay, I learned that very quickly. I proceeded to lose, I want to say in calendar 2014, or at least the first 6 months of 2014, I proceeded to lose almost $20,000 on that, just on that setup. And again, I know that because I was keeping a really good trading journal, right? In 2018 through the end of 2020, that was my most profitable trading setup that I've ever had in swing trading, right? I'm not talking about futures. I'm talking mostly stocks and options. Well, what changed, right? Now, of course, we can talk about COVID markets and all that kind of stuff. But the setup didn't change over the course of those several years, right? I changed. My ability to trade the setup changed, okay? Guys, studies have been, prop firms, Blue Sky is a form of a prop firm, but they're prop firms themselves where they actually hire people to come into their offices and physically trade. They train them for 6 months, a year, 3 years, whatever the case may be. Those have been around for a very long time. Okay, sort of more traditional in-person prop firms. And then obviously, sort of remote funded trader prop firms like Blue Sky, et cetera, have been around just a few years and got very big in COVID and the post-COVID time, right? Josh is probably way more qualified to give more of a lecture on the history of this type of business, but that really interests me because I've been in this business for a while. It may not be interesting to people who are just here for this particular talk. So again, same setup over the course of many, many years, but my ability to trade it changed. And again, these traditional prop firms have done studies and done experiments where they bring people in with no trading experience. They hand them a winning setup, right? It's a booklet. Okay, no different. It's a playbook, no different than the playbook that is part of the challenge that I'm doing right now, which I'm going to give you a link to that in a little bit. And they found, again, with people without the experience to trade it, even though it's a documented winning setup, right? Hey, when you see this, enter the trade. When you see this, exit the trade. And they cannot execute it. It sounds so simple, right? It sounds like, gosh, that's, how did they not do it, right? Like I read The Disciplined Trader, as I told you, before I actually started trading, I laughed at the people in the book making the mistakes that they did. And then guess what I did? I went and made all those mistakes my first couple of years in trading, especially my first about 8 to 10 months. Okay, I lost almost 40 grand in my first 8.5 months of trading. Okay, this was back before nowadays, if I was starting tomorrow, I would have just blown out a bunch of eval accounts, right? And hopefully just, spent a few $100s or a couple $1,000s on resets rather than losing my savings, almost my life savings, which was pretty, yes, paciencia y fe, correct? Right? Patience and faith in this business. So I want to go back very briefly. So again, we're getting into the very end of 2013, early 2014. I did what you should never do. Okay, I had a little history of myself in trading. So after college, I graduated with a degree in sports management, a minor in business. I wanted to either be a basketball coach in college or I wanted to be a player agent, a sports agent. And I started leaning heavy into the coaching aspect because I enjoy coaching. I mean, imagine that. It's what I still do now is kind of my side hustle beyond trading, right? And so I started to learn about trading, right? 2008, 2009, the subprime mess. My dad was he had just retired, right? So he's starting to manage his, pay a little more attention to his retirement accounts, my mom's retirement accounts. Now, thankfully, because he had retired, they'd taken a lot of money out of equities. More of it was in bonds, fixed income kind of stuff because he was no longer working. So there was no reason to be overly risky with his portfolio. And my mom's was, again, because she was on the verge of retirement as well, although she worked, almost another 15 years after that, decided to, again, get very conservative with their allocation. Okay, my grandmother had just recently moved in with my dad as well. She was having some decline, right, as happens when you hit your 80s, and so my dad took over power of attorney for her managed money. Now she had, she had a house that had been paid off, long ago. Didn't have a ton of money in the bank, just had Social Security, fixed income, but had, I want to say it was about 20 grand put away with a financial advisor that had been managing her and my late grandpa's money for 50 years, right? He was that guy in the small town that everyone went to, and everything was fine, and he did a good job over many, many years. So the last meeting my dad had with him before they took the account and moved it up here to a financial advisor up here was where this gentleman sat and told my dad, and this was right after he got done with a meeting with his financial advisor, and maybe some of you had this meeting as well, where they basically said, yeah, the subprime mess happened, so you're down, whatever. It doesn't matter if it's 5%, doesn't matter if it's 20%, whatever the case may be. You're down this much money. Oh, by the way, here's our management fee, right? And actually one of my mentors in this business got started the same way, right? They all had the same thought. Wait a minute. I just paid somebody else to lose money for me. I don't need to pay somebody. I can lose money on my own. I don't need to pay anyone to do this, right? And so that started his looking into the markets and looking into, trading and investing. I started, as I was in the public sector teaching, doing some part-time teaching, part-time coaching, making, I want to say it was about $23,000 a year, sharing, I'm 24, 25, so what difference does it make at that point? Sharing an apartment with 3 other people, right? 2 bedrooms. But I started to say, I started to look at the landscape and say, coaching college ball is very lucrative, but it takes you sometimes as long as 10 to 15 to 20 years to get to that point where you're making decent money in it. And my dad was a athletic director, so I spent a lot of time around coaches and a lot of time around, athletes and sport and all that kind of stuff. And so I was drawn to that world. But unless you're a professional athlete or unless you're a high-end coach, it doesn't pay very well. So I'll skip all the in-between steps, but as we get to late 2013, I moved full-time into trading. And I quit. I say my jobs, but it was really about 3 part-time jobs to trade. Okay. Now, again, thankfully, I'd been living, very frugal for several years, so had a decent little nest egg put away, right? And had just a few, I think I had about, I don't even remember what it was, but it was some decent money, right? And I'd taken, all the if anyone else's grandparents gave them savings bonds and all that, and saved money over the years, and so I lost almost my life savings in the first 8 months of trading. So anybody that deals with trading trauma with that regard, for those of you that bottom out your evals again and again and again, I've been there. I can sympathize with that. So, Mr. Axelrod, I appreciate the kind words. It's gosh, guys, this is Mark Douglas's point. Now, listen, guys, I don't want to equate losing money in the markets to legitimate trauma. Those that have served overseas in war zones or people that have been assaulted or anything like that. But Mark Douglas's main thesis is that when you consistently lose money in the markets, it creates actual diagnosable trauma in your head, right? And for those of you, I just had a close friend that I know deal with a situation at work that was their bosses were very verbally and psychologically abusive, and to they left the job, thankfully, but a situation where, again, trauma being created and getting into these sort of trauma loops and all these different situations where it's very tough to break out of. Okay, almost all of us has either been through some sort of actual trauma, or we know people who have. One of the best skills I've learned in my life is, it started with Mark Douglas, but also because I thankfully have a couple of friends who are psychologists, is to speak to them about that situation and learn I've been fortunate enough, I haven't really had major trauma in my personal life, but I know people that have. And so to see some of the similarities there. And so if the markets have just kicked your teeth in again and again and again, there's two thoughts to that. First of all, something's got to change, right? If you're doing the same setup or the same asset class or the same position sizing and you're still losing, something has to give. Something has to change, okay? And the second part of that is, again, you've got to find a way out of that loop. Guys, it is not uncommon. Now, this is not something I have personally done, but I know traders who have. In fact, and I actually asked if I could share this gentleman's story today, and I never got an email back. So I'm not going to name this particular individual, but it's a trader most of you probably heard of, that I had the fortune of forming sort of a kind of a personal mentor relationship with, that I've seen at various money show events and some of the live stuff that I've done over the years. But he flat out told me, he says, and this is a very successful guy. He's got, I don't know what his exact net worth is, but it's 8 figures. He lives in a gorgeous house. Flies private jets everywhere he goes. Okay. And yet he told me, he said, listen, I've struggled from time to time. He says about 12 to 15 times a year, I meet with a psychologist to talk about my trading. He says, my personal life is great. My wife and I get along well. My kids are kids. They've got their ups and downs, but they're relatively well balanced. I'm able to give them whatever advantages that my trading allows me to give them. He said, but sometimes, boy, I get in some of these loops, and I get in some of these, if I have a couple of bad days in a row, I get in my head and I start to doubt, everything that I've done for the last 25 years. Okay. We've all been there. And so he goes and talks to somebody. Again, I'm not here to tell you that'll help you or won't help you. I'm just saying, if this individual, who is one of the best traders I've ever personally met, can go do that, right? And is, listen, guys in mental health, we don't always like to talk about it, right? But if he can do that, there's some legitimate things that need to be talked about in this, okay? Does that make sense to everybody? Any questions so far before I kind of talk about my calendar year and some of the challenges that I've faced? I don't know if I have... No, the Disciplined Trader I actually have back upstairs, but this is the Trading Psychology 2.0. This is, again, it gets pretty wordy, but this is Dr. Steenbarger. Very, very good book. It's about 400 pages long, but it's definitely worth it. Actually, James, I appreciate that. I've done a podcast in the past. So, again, one of the things that I think, I've talked to several of the people over at Blue Sky. I talked to Josh quite a bit. Obviously, spoken with Mike and some of the other partners, past and present, and all of that. Oh yes, the giveaway. I apologize for that. So we are doing that $25,000 eval account giveaway. Make sure when the link is posted, it'll be posted in the YouTube chat. All you got to do is give your email and your screen name, and then Josh sends me the names, and we spin the wheel of names here. We'll do that probably in about 25 minutes, okay? So, I lost my train of thought. Do you keep your jet in the same hangar as him? No. No, actually, no, but yeah, I appreciate the comment. But no, James, I did do a podcast for a while. And again, one of the things that attracted me to work with Blue Sky and kind of have some synergy with them is we're both kind of smaller startups, although they're getting, thanks to you guys, they're getting pretty big pretty quick, which is outstanding. I like to see good people in this business do well because spoiler alert, not a lot of people are in this business are as good as I'd like them to be. That's not to say person A or person B is good or bad. But I have crossed paths with people that have, gotten themselves into a lot of trouble with the CFTC. I have crossed paths with people who are just some of the nicest and kindest individuals in the world, right? That help people at any intersection. And that's great. But I mean, when you're dealing with this much money and the ability to make so much money on such a small time frame, it's going to attract a lot of people. But I'm very cognizant of my time, and I'm very cognizant of my mental workload. So that's the thing, guys. With my company is called Teresias Trading. You can see it in the bottom right hand corner there. You can go to the website. It is me. I do not have it's anything you see on the website, I put together the videos, the copy, everything. And I do that because the teaching part of this really is a side hustle for me. I mean, honest to God, guys, I'm one of the few, this is legit. I'm one of the few trading educators out there who makes far more money trading than I do on the education side. I could probably do 50 hours a week of education and make a ton of money on the side. I value my free time. I value my flexibility, my ability to travel. I'm going to Hilton Head for about 2.5 weeks here, coming up at the end of September into mid-October, right? And I can still trade, right? I can bring my laptop. In fact, the Wi-Fi is not strong enough to trade on the beach. I wanted to do that for a video one time. I was probably just paper trade because, you don't want to get disconnected, but... So, yeah, I did do a podcast for a little while when I was working I worked for TradeStation for about 2.5 years in their education arm, and I did, I did a post-market rap show. I did podcasts. I was generating content left and right, and I burned out pretty quickly on that, right? And at the edge, there's a high burnout rate among traders. There's an even higher burnout rate among educators because, honest to God, guys, don't get me wrong, you as clients, I love the hell out of each and every one of you, but y'all can be frustrating sometimes. Right? So this way in the materials that I put out, I'm able to sort of screen the type of people that I want to work with. I have a very specific, when you go into any sort of customer-facing business, they tell you to come up with your client avatar. I'm pulling the curtain back a little bit, guys, here, but I don't care, right? The type of client you want to work with, and the type of client that I want to work with is what everything that I do is geared towards. Right, I have a very small group of people that I work on a mentorship basis with. That is, we're going to be opening that back up very, very soon. So if you're interested in that, send me a DM. Actually, next week, guys, here's a little spoiler. In the next psychology series, I forget what the exact topic is, but I'll look it up. I've got a pretty big announcement regarding the mentorship group and some of the people. I'm going to be doing a pilot group, which means very, very heavy discounts. And the goal is going to be getting people funded in an account. So I'm going to keep the cost down on it, but I want to be honest, it's not going to be free. It's not going to be $1,000, but it's not going to be free. So I'll be reaching out next week on that. I'll talk about that. And I only work with about 8 to 10 people at a time. So, if you're really interested in that, send me a DM as soon as possible. I'm fortunate I've never had, except one time, I had a very short waiting list. But again, I don't overwhelm myself because, guys, the weekends, I like to take the weekends off, take my girlfriend out to dinner. Last weekend, or actually this past week, traveled up to Green Bay to go to the shareholders meeting. The weekend before that, we went up to Detroit for a concert. So it's like I love having the weekends. That's my mental edge. It's actually a funny story. First time I ever talked with our good friend Josh here at Blue Sky. We were talking about mental edge and this and that, and he's like, "So you married? You have kids?" I said, "No, I'm not married. I have kids." He goes, there's your edge," which is true, right? I have the time to do some of this other stuff, and that keeps me fresh. So again, I'm going on a big aside here. I'm never going to quit trading, Seth. I love it too much, right? It's honestly, guys, I'm a social guy, which is why I do this. But if I was a complete introvert, I'd trade about 3 hours a day, hit my profit target, which I do, probably about 70% of the days, and walk away, right? And go play Madden until 3 o'clock and then go out to dinner, right? I mean, that would be my life. But I enjoy working with clients. I enjoy this kind of stuff, and yeah, trade. Well, that's true. Yeah, it is. All right, so I want to talk about this year and some of the challenges I've dealt with and how I've mentally matured as far as trading to deal with that, right? And then so this will take about 10 minutes or so, and then we'll get into the questions, and then we'll get into the giveaway. So if we fast forward or rewind about a year, okay, I was just sort of getting Teresias Trading back up and running after working at again. I just kind of started my own site for a little while. Wasn't really doing much with it. One of my mentors, her company got bought out by TradeStation. She invited me to come work with her, so I did for a couple years. TradeStation decided to shutter the project, and so I was kind of sitting here about September. Just kind of like, all right, so what do I do now, right? Like, what do I, what's next? The first question I asked, do I want to stay in the education space, or do I just want to focus full time on trading? And I decided I wanted to do both, right? I wanted to just do education stuff part time and trade full time. And so I spent, some months putting together some materials and kind of talking to some of my former clients and people that I've worked with about kind of because again, guys, so many traders fail out there, and we in the education space, we don't get enough blame for that, because a good portion of the blame should be on us, right? Now, part of that is because some people are just out for a subscription fee. Some people are just out to get you to pay for their course, and then they're not interested in helping you beyond that. I know that because I've worked for some of those people over the years, unfortunately. But when I first got started, I would buy courses, and maybe they'd help or maybe they wouldn't. You've all done it at some point, right? And then it comes. I joined a mentorship program one time, guys. Paid the fee, and don't get me wrong, the materials were great, but it was billed as a mentorship program. On day one, I went into the mentorship room, and it was me and 150 of my closest friends. That's not a mentorship. That's just a live trading room. Don't get me started on those, by the way. Although they can be helpful, I don't want to eliminate them altogether. But I'm more of the teach a man to fish rather than give a man a fish type of situation, to go all biblical on you. But yeah, it's trade to live. Trade to live. Living to trade, people burn out very quickly, even if they're successful. I've just seen it too many times. Close friend of mine who worked in he wasn't with TradeStation, but it was an acquaintance that I met through TradeStation that worked in the financial district in Chicago. Is huge, right? We got the CME, the CBOT here. He burned out so bad he actually ended up having to go someplace for a few weeks, right? His family told him, you've snapped at us for the last time. You're over. You need to go handle this. And he did. To his credit, he did. He came back and he prioritized things correctly, right? But this business can swallow you. I don't care if you're retail trader A who trades your funded account, or you're somebody who works in my end of it or in the brokerage side of things. This business can burn you out so quickly. So make sure, as part of your trading journal, you're putting down your mental state every day. Okay, so let's go back to, I was prepared for a very big 2023, both in trading and in education. So if you recall, the first was on a Sunday, right? So the second was the holiday, and I didn't like that. I hated that. I'm ready to go, right? I had some very aggressive monetary goals. I had some very aggressive education-based goals. I was ready to go. About 6 o'clock, no, it was actually a little later than that. It was about 8 o'clock on the second, right? This is Monday the 2nd. I got a call from my girlfriend. And she had, she's the sole caretaker for her father, who has major mobility issues. He's basically in a walker. He needs a walker, all this kind of stuff. During the pandemic, she moved home because she had a lease was up. She moved home to care for him full time while still working full time. She's a freaking superwoman. But anyway, she had fallen down the stairs at her house and broke her wrist. I mean, just snapped the thing in two, basically, both bones. So I'm driving out there, take her to the hospital. Finally, about 3 a.m., we get back to my place, right? And I actually had her move in for a couple of weeks just to help her get back on her feet and help her. She had to have surgery, months of rehab. All right, great. So that's fine. That sucks. But hey, better to break a wrist and, other than split your skull in half or something like that. And so, thankfully her job was fairly accommodating at the time. So great. All right, we're ready to go. A few weeks later, cast is off. This is great. We'd been going back and forth, making sure dad's okay and all that. And she gets home the day her cast is cut off. She goes home, finds her dad on the floor. He had had a stroke. Just thankfully, very, very recently, just a few minutes ago, right? So that whole thing started. And I'm going to spare you all the different details, but thankfully everyone's still with us and everyone's as healthy as they can be. But since that moment, which was in early February, my dad has been in the hospital twice with AFib and with something they still don't know what it was. Her dad had to have double bypass surgery. My mom got sick with bronchitis for about 3 weeks, could barely get out of bed. Just one thing after another that has taken my attention elsewhere, right? Now, again, I don't say this for any sort of pity party. Like I said, God, good Lord willing, everyone's with us. Everyone's doing as okay as they can be considering the situation. But this big year I had planned, I blinked on January 2nd, and it was mid-May. Right? I mean, and I had planned a ton of different, as I always do. I love to do little, both long and short vacations over the summer, right? And so we run into those. Some had to be modified, some had to be canceled, some we just went, right? And everything, just one thing after another. And I noticed this bleeding into my trading. Okay, I started to get very frustrated. I started to make very uncharacteristically dumb decisions. Now, for me, thankfully, and this is where going from being an inexperienced trader to an experienced trader makes a difference. And inexperienced traders is going to be getting into trades they should not be in. An experienced trader is not getting into trades they should be in. And thankfully, that I wasn't losing a ton of money, but I wasn't making any. And that was the frustrating part. So I'm sitting there in mid-May. Oh, sure, I was pretty green on the year. I was 5-figure green on the year. Right? That's nice. But I hadn't made that much more money than I would if I had gone and worked an hourly job somewhere. So I was pretty frustrated and pissed off. Now, thankfully, I had a really good May, and that got me right back on the horse. June was pretty good. July is going to be at this pace. If I can finish off strong tomorrow, July is going to be probably my best month in about a year and a half. So that's back on the horse, back doing what I need to do, following my rules. But it took some time, and it took me noticing it and making sure I corrected it, right? At the end of the day, saying, Matt, this perfect VWAP tap setup at 10:30, you didn't take it. Why? And eventually it was, part of it was because I was dead dog tired all the time. So I reduced my trading hours. I was only trading about 3 hours a day as opposed to, I usually do the full day. So I recognized the mistake and I corrected it, okay? Now, there were some times the stress level was a little high, and I recognized that I was not going to be in the right mental mindset to trade, so I didn't trade. I've had 3 days over the course of the last couple of months where there were some things going on. I'm not mentally ready to trade. I'm in a situation where I'm probably setting myself up to lose money, so I stepped away. Okay, and it's okay to do that, guys. If you're struggling, if you're just effing frustrated and you're just ready to punch something, take 20 minutes. Get up. Unless you're in a trade, close the trade. Get up, walk away. Go outside, go take your dog for a walk, go make your, go, what's your guilty pleasure, fast food or local something, go get a burger or something and just take a deep breath and relax, okay? Honest to God, guys, one of the best things a trader can do is 5 or 6 times during the day. I don't care if you're having a good day, you're having a bad day, wherever the situation is you just do this. I am a big believer, guys, and this is a little hack for you. I am a regular practitioner of secular-based meditation. I mean, I have my religious side, my faith-based side, but I don't do that in meditation. I took actually the great course. Gosh, I don't have it down here. It's on my desk upstairs. But I had a DVD a course that I had watched like 10 years ago that I ignored, and I pulled it back out about 5 years ago, and I started, just basic meditation. I don't care if you're, it's not necessarily the or anything like that, but if you just want to just sit and just be for a little while, and that literally rewires your brain to be present in the moment. And guys, that can really help you in trading. I will post in the let's see if I can find that course on Amazon or something. I'll put a link to it tomorrow in the Blue Sky channel. So just a couple of things. Okay, I don't think the link to register has been posted yet, but I do want to give you guys a couple of links from me. Just a second here. So guys, I'm running a 5-day challenge right now, 5-day futures trading challenge. It is free through the month of July. So you got a couple more days to sign up for it. I know a lot of you have, but I'm gonna give you the link to it right now. After the 31st, it's gonna cost $150 to sign up. So every day for 5 days, you get a short video. They're between 15 and 30 minutes long, and you get 2 action items. On day 4, I actually teach you one of my strategies, and you get the playbook for it. So let me just get the link for this. Yeah, so this coupon expires on July 31st. This link takes you right to the coupon. Why is that not showing up there? There it is. Okay. Okay. And additionally, guys, I'm going to give you the link to join my Discord server. Now, I don't do a ton in here during the day. You stick in the blue sky during the day. A lot of great content. But I encourage everyone to check it like twice a day just for again, for, you know, I'll post event notifications in there. I'm going to start doing some of my own webinars again, although I'm still definitely going to be doing them for Blue Sky as long as until Josh gets sick of me. Which, let's be honest, could be any day now. He's way more patient than I am. So again, that 5-day challenge, guys, this is something I experimented with last year with some clients. Instead of being just a video course that you just get it all at once, right? Here's your 5 hours of video, because you know you watch an hour and then you never do again. For 5 days, you get, again, you can't access day 2. If you go sign up right now, you get day 1's video and day 1's action items. You don't get day 2. That comes tomorrow. But again, it's going to be something I'm going to sell starting the August 1st, but it's free right now. So yeah, timer loop to come back. I've been experimenting with those Pomodoro timers, right? 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off. For some of my trading stuff. I mean, I trade the first hour pretty consistently, but then, you know, again, I have, you know, I was diagnosed ADD as a child, so my attention wanders all the time. So stuff like that, anything you need to do to keep yourself engaged in the markets, take a lot of small breaks throughout the day. Don't worry about missing a trade. There's always going to be another trade, but if you need 5 or 10 minutes, take 5 or 10 minutes. Yeah, the link's up there, guys. It should be. Look in the Teresius Trading. That's my name, guys. I will post it in the. I'll post. You know what? I'll post it in the Discord as soon as we're done as well. The link to the challenge and the link to my Discord as well. All right, guys. So I want to open up. For about 10 minutes. I'm gonna take questions. In about 10 minutes, we're gonna do the drawing. Again, there should be. I don't know if Josh has posted the link yet. If not, Josh, feel free to do that. We'll get you signed up for that 25K evaluation giveaway. So any questions on any of this stuff, guys? Again, this is very unusual for a webinar for me to kind of, I have some notes, but I kind of went stream of consciousness on that, so I hope you guys got some nuggets out of that. Is YouTube filtering the links? That's possible. All right, guys, let me go into, I'll go do it in Discord right now, okay? So in the futures chat of the... There you go. So there's both links in the futures chat of the Blue Sky Discord channel. Okay? So Carl, Vivek, I'm sorry, they yeah, somebody said they might have filtered that. That's entirely possible. What time frame am I using? It's a good question. Let me pull up the... I have a couple of platforms that I have up throughout the day, guys, but let me just pull up my main screen here. So this is obviously TradingView. I use TradingView, TOS, and Edge Pro X. I place my trades through Edge Pro X. I like their platform, and I like their domes. But I use either a 3... I alternate depending on the day. And how active it is. I use a 5-minute candlestick chart with VWAP, and I have the squeeze indicator down here. Squeeze indicator is not I do not enter trades based on this, but sometimes I either exit trades or it keeps me out of trades, but I do not use this as an entry-based indicator. And then I use either a 3 or 5-minute Renko chart for my RTT trend setup, which is quickly becoming one of my favorite and most popular setups. You actually get that playbook on day 4 of the Futures Trading Challenge. And guys, for those that sign up for it, I'm just going to tell you this. Watch all the videos, start to finish. I can see who's watching them and who's not. And make sure you mark them all complete. And if you do that, you get a little something special at the end. I'm not going to spoil anything for you. But again, like I said, my Discord channel is sort of a check it once or twice a day thing for trading examples and things like that. The Blue Sky room is a lot more active during the actual day. I'm not in there. I post maybe 3 or 4 times during the day in my server and a few times a day in the Blue Sky. But honestly, guys, I'm trading during the day, right? Like I don't, I'll put stuff in there at night, you know, and extra charts and stuff. But, you know, that's where my attention is during the day. All right, so the link has just been posted, guys, in the chat to sign up for the giveaway. So this is a giveaway for a 25K eval account with Blue Sky Trading. So sign up for that, and in about a little under 10 minutes, Josh can send me the names, and we will spin the wheel. Oh, names. Let's bring my ugly mug back up here so I can bring this other stuff up. Wheel of names. There we go. Got it pulled up. All right, so questions, guys. Fire them away. Questions, comments, thoughts, musings. So let me just, I know, first of all, guys, I'm just, again, I'm not a Blue Sky employee. I just do some work with them because I like them. And you know, I get along really well with Josh and the other guys there. So let me just comment as a teacher of trading on this stuff. And don't get me wrong, guys, you know, to have a good price on things it's capitalism, right? To have favorable rules, this or that. But at the end of the day, either you can trade or you can't, right? And if you can't trade, learn how to trade. Learn setups, learn journaling, learn trading psychology, right? You know, I've seen so many people asking so many questions about this or that, but at the end of the day, guys, if you can do this, you can do this. Okay, it doesn't matter what if they, you know, $50,000 account, if the drawdown is $300, yeah, that's pretty difficult, right? But like the 50K account, the drawdown's $2,000. I mean, think about it. If somebody gave you $50,000 to trade, which is what eventually happens, right? If you make it through the eval, the Blue Live situation, you get an account, right? If somebody's going to give you that money, give you their money to trade, and give you a really nice cut of it, of the profits you make, gosh, don't you think they want to know if you can actually do it? And not just get, you know, I see people bitching constantly about the consistency rules. And listen, I get it, right? We want to qualify in day one and get our money. But it's not our money until we make it, right? Until it comes into the account. So, you know, I mean, obviously I recommend Blue Sky. I'm doing an event for those guys. But if it's with somebody else, you know, I've shopped around, guys. You know, prices may vary here or there, but the rules are generally similar, right? It may be a little extra here, a little extra there. But again, you know, again, there's a community here that I don't think exists in other places. I don't even remember who it was. I was on one of their sites, and it was like, join our Facebook page. I'm like, man, who the hell uses Facebook anymore? Especially like a community on Facebook, right? Like, I'm under 45, but I'm above 40, so like nobody younger than me uses Facebook anymore, other than maybe talk to their grandparents, right? So that's not a community. A community where there's a few no, the Discord is a nice community. You ask a question, you usually get a pretty prompt response from a fellow trader or from a team member there, right? All right, let me catch up on the chat here. Okay, you failed your last eval. You were not trading like you mean it. I don't know what that means. Way too small size. Well, if you're trading a small size and you failed on it, I don't think you were trading with a small size. To me, a small size is 1 or 2 micros. 5 micros is kind of a decent size. That's a great place to start, right, guys? You know, if you're especially in an eval account. Any more than that, probably, and you don't know what you're doing, you're going to blow it out pretty quickly. What is your biggest issue that stopped you from going to be profitable in your journey as a trader? It's a good question, Antonio. And again, it wasn't strategies, right? Because I told you I learned one of my most profitable swing trading strategies very, very quickly. Honestly, it's the mental game. And you know, as Mark Douglas talks about, how do you define a mental edge? Your mental edge is you have a strategy that you know it works. How do you know your strategies work? You've tested them. Okay, I don't care if you bought a course where somebody gives you a strategy or you formed it on your own. You've spent, in most cases, months testing it, paper trading it. On day 3, guys, of the 5-day challenge, I take you through the 3 phases that I use to evaluate and integrate strategies in my day-to-day trading. Okay, it's a 3-phase process. Sometimes it takes a couple months, sometimes it takes a year. But every single strategy that I actively trade has gone through that process. Okay, so once it's through that process, I know it works, or I know I can trade it, I should say, right? So I have an edge. I know that edge because I've tested it. I act without hesitation when my edge presents itself. So if I have a trade that meets my setup, I act without hesitation. Okay, that's a big one. Mark Douglas is big on that. Once you know your edge, you better act on it. Because if you have an edge and you don't act on it, it ain't an edge, right? Do I only have one strategy for futures trading now? No, I have, let's see. Well, I mean, strategies versus direction. So if we want to talk RTT long, RTT short, VWAP tap long, VWAP tap short. So I have 4 playbooks that I actively trade, and then I trade candlestick setups all day long, right? Multi-wick rejections I trade. Long-tailed rockets I trade. So I would say probably 5 to 6 quantifiable setups that I trade, and that gets me... I haven't checked for a couple weeks, guys, so my mentor would really yell at me because I didn't go do that before I came in here. But I make probably, on an average week, 18 to 25 trades. That's it, guys. I know some of you make that in a day. Some of you make that before lunch every day, right? I make 18 to 25 futures trades per week. I like I said, I don't, depending on how you define it, I barely consider myself a day trader. I'm more of an intraday swing trader. Sometimes I'm in a trade for 5 minutes. Sometimes I'm in it for 2 hours. I believe my average hold time last I checked this year was about 8 minutes, 9 minutes. Some trades I get in and out pretty quickly. I mean, if I hit my initial profit target, it can be a 2 or 3 minute trade. But if I don't hit a profit target and I don't hit a stop loss and my thesis hasn't changed and no new information has come to the market, no reason for me to be out of that trade. The sign up asks for a code. The code should be there, guys. Hold on. Yeah, you click on that, it should pull up. So this is what it should. Come on, hold on. Let me get rid of this. I will pull up. This is what you should see when you click on that link I put in Blue Sky. So it should show you that, okay? Yeah, I mean, I clicked on that link to get to that, so that should be fine. But again, if you really can't get it, guys, let me know. I'll put it back in again later. Which trading journal do I use? I use TradingView, or TradingSync, excuse me. But you can't go wrong with any of them. Any of the main ones, TraderView, TraderSync, Edgewonk. I don't know which other ones are out there. But anything where you can tag your trades and sort them by tag, right, guys? So, like, for example, and I'm not logged in down here, but I'll do a webinar where I pull up my journal and just show you how I sort it. So, for example, I can look at my RTT trend trade, and I can tell you how I've done on that trade on Tuesdays this year between 10 and 11, right? It's just click, click, click. That's it. Okay, although I do not have a trading journal, what are your suggestions to journal in it? So let me just be very blunt, guys. I can't say this in any more clearer terms. If you're not keeping a day-to-day trading journal and you're trying to be a day trader, you are wasting your time. End of discussion, end of story. I can't state it any more clearly. I'm sorry if maybe that pisses some people off, but to be honest, it pisses me off that traders try to do this without keeping a journal, right? If you're not keeping a journal, how do you know what's working and what's not? Okay, and this doesn't have to be like where you're recording like your mental state day to day. Like, I think that's very important, but that's not mandatory. If you, again, if I do not, I will tell you this: if somebody applies to work with me with a mentorship program and they don't keep a journal, it's an automatic rejection. I don't even meet with them. I don't even interview them. Okay, because they're gonna waste my time and their money, and I'm not interested in wasting either. Okay, again, I'm sorry if I'm being overly blunt there, but that is not optional to me. So if you're trading and you're not keeping a trade journal, start today. Don't start tomorrow. What's the old expression? The best time to start something was yesterday. The second best time is right now. So, okay, well then, if you got a journal, good job, my friend. Keep it and spend an hour or two every weekend going through it and reviewing the week, okay? So you should say, hey, on this particular setup, I was 3 of 5 for plus $700. On this setup, I was 14 of 20 for plus $1,800. On this setup, I was only 3 for 7, and I lost $700, right? You should be able to do that at the end of every single week. Okay, with 18 to 25 trades, do you have big targets or take multiple contracts? So my typical position size, guys, I'm actually in the process of transitioning from micros to minis. I used to do about 20 to 30 micros. I just like scaling out in like 5 micro lots, but I finally just made the decision to move over. So typically about 2 to 3 minis is my position size in the NQ or the ES. 1 to 2 minis. Actually, I'm probably staying in the micros for gold and oil, but I don't trade. I maybe make 2 or 3 gold or oil trades. Oh gosh, not even per week, every couple weeks. Probably about 50% of my trades are in the NQ and probably 25 to 30% are in the ES. Actually, recently, like 90% of my trades have been in the NQ because sometimes it's the only thing that's moving. All right, I trade account, asset strategy, entries, exits, target. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's great. So guys, again, I put the link to join my challenge in the Blue Sky Discord. And momentarily here, you got about 2 minutes. This is the last call, guys, to go in and register for the 25K giveaway. Last call. In about 2 minutes, I'm going to have Josh send me the names. And then they go on the Wheel O Names. So, okay, that's a good question. Would you start with the ES or the NQ? I'd start with the indexes if you're brand new to trading futures. I'd probably start with the ES just because it moves a little slower. And guys, this is just my opinion. Don't take this as any sort of advising. I would start with micros. I would start no more than 5 micros. I'd start with 2 or 3, right? You can scale up pretty quickly, right? You don't, yeah, guys, Blue Sky clients get 50% off their first 6 months, I believe, of TraderView now. Josh kind of negotiated that. That's a huge thing. I've used it in the past. I don't use it now, but it's still a very good piece of software. You can't go wrong with any kind of trading journal. Like I said, as long as it allows you to tag and sort your trades, where you can see how you did on any given setup on a given day or a given time with 2 or 3 clicks of the mouse, that's great. All right, guys, last call for questions. I'm going to take 2 more questions, and then we are going to spin the Wheel O Names. They just put the giveaway in there. You got 1 more minute, 60 seconds to sign up for the giveaway. For the Discord link, check the Blue Sky Futures chat channel in Discord, and my link is there. Yeah, the micros and the minis trade almost in lockstep. Not exactly, but almost in lockstep. So, again, there's almost no difference to trading those other than contract size. Ooh, top 5 trading books. Oh, boy. Definitely The Disciplined Trader. Stock Market Wizards, Reminiscences of a Stock Operator. I'll go with Trading Psychology 2.0, and shoot, that's 4. That's a good start. There's nothing wrong with a handwritten journal, but you do need to be able to, like, okay, there's a record of your trades. Your trading journal, right? And then there's a journal of your trading. So what's the difference? Your trading journal should have, again, you got to do it electronically in my opinion, because then you can sort all your trades out. Hey, this is how I traded in the NQ. This is how I traded in the ES. I traded this setup. I traded this day of the week. I traded this hour. Really tough to do that on paper, even in an Excel spreadsheet. Now, nothing wrong with keeping a journal of your trading where you say, hey, gosh, I saw these 2 setups today and I hesitated. I didn't take them. I'm going to make sure I get them next time, right? Excuse me. Trading in the Zone is good too. Honestly, I love Mark Douglas, but both of his books are very similar. If you go to YouTube, well, you're on YouTube, and search Mark Douglas trading, a ton of stuff comes up. If you're not somebody who can sit and read a book for a while, pull up one of his lectures. All right, guys. So as soon as Josh is ready to send me the names, looks like he did already. Josh, you're my freaking hero, bro. Oh, the Discord link isn't working. All right, as soon as I'm off here, guys, I will send. All right, so let's pull up the wheel of names. Let me get this on screen here. Okay, boy, gosh, we had a lot of people show up today. Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't normally look at this stuff when I'm... Wow, it's like double what we had last week. Okay, again, guys, before I spin this and you all leave, two closing things. First is make sure you come to next week's lecture. I'm going to give you more info on mentorship in terms of, again, my mentorship goal with people in Blue Sky is to get you into funded and get you so you don't blow your funded account, right? So that's my goal. And I'm going to set up a special program for... to use in conjunction with a funded or with an eval account. So stay tuned for that. If you know you're interested in that, DM me like right now. I'll get you on the list because I'm only going to take probably 8 to 10 people in that at a time because I value my time and I don't want to spend. I don't mind doing a couple Zoom meetings per week, but I'm not spending 5 or 6 hours a day on Zoom. It'd be like my girlfriend at her job. All right, guys. So this is for a $25K eval account, 1 month free. With Blue Sky. If you win, you don't need to do anything. Josh will reach out to you via email. Okay? So, do you average a new position or go full size immediately? I go full size immediately, but I scale out for profit. All right, here we go, guys. All right, Ted Peterson, 6475. Congratulations on winning the 25K eval account. Again, Josh will be in contact with you, okay? So again, guys, we are halfway done with our Summer Psychology series here at Blue Sky Trading. Thank you for joining me. I'm typically available in Discord during the day, guys. You're welcome to send me a direct message. Again, it may take me a little time to respond because I'm trading during the day, but I try to respond to all emails and direct messages within 24 hours. So thank you for being here, guys. I really appreciate it. I will see you back next week at this exact time at 4 o'clock Eastern, right on this channel, the same Matt time, same Matt channel. And everyone have a great rest of your day, and I will see you for Friday's